This is a horror movie.
The film X was one of my favorite, if not my absolute favorite, horror movie of 2022. A period piece from A24 Studios. It brought us a great script, interesting and engaging characters, and some really fantastic kill scenes. It was followed by a prequel called Pearl, which followed the older female character from X as a young girl. This is where we see how she developed, well, let's just call it her proclivities. It was also pretty well received. Now, director Ty West, who did the first two movies, announced that he was going to complete his trilogy with the movie Maxxxine, a direct sequel to the movie X, which follows the Maxxxine character from the X movie several years later. Now, I found in horror that the more movies you make under a title, the worse they get. Think of all the bad Friday the 13th and Halloweens that we had to endure over the years. So what do we have here? Is this a fun movie? A good horror movie? Or, is it a little bit too much from the same thing? Well, before we answer that, let's talk a little bit about the plot to the movie Maxxxine.
Let's talk.
So here we find Maxxxine several years after the events of the film X. She now lives in Hollywood. It's the 1980s and she is a porn star, but is aspiring to be a mainstream actress. She auditions for a role in a horror film and against all odds gets the part, finally getting her big break. However, during this time period, the Night Stalker killings are occurring in Los Angeles, and as the mysterious killer stalks the starlets of Los Angeles, Maxxine's past begins to come back and haunt her. And as a mysterious person who seems to know exactly what happened in the last film comes calling on her, this threatens to expose her past and destroy the life she is building. So let's start with what works here. Director Ty West really captures the 80s better than really anything I've seen in a long time. The shots, the music, the quality of the film, even the flashbacks, they look like flashbacks from 80s films. This film isn't like a rah-rah praise the 80s film either. It shows the darkness of the decade and it has a raw grittiness to it. Also, while the first two movies in this trilogy are more horror slasher films, this one's more of a murder mystery. Yes, we get some grossness in this, but it's mostly a story about the mystery. Who is this killer? Is it the Night Stalker? Who are these people tracking down Maxxxine? What do they want? Finally, though, the biggest praise has to go to the acting. Kevin Bacon's in this, and he plays a sleazy private investigator, and he looks like he's just having so much fun in this role. I've always been a fan of his, and I love the fact that he put so much into this. The rest of the acting is really good as well. Giancarlo Esposito, who for once when I see him on screen, I did not think... That's Gus Fring from Breaking Bad. It's probably because of the terrible hairpiece he wears, but, I like it. He's good. He's a good actor. We forget that. We forget how good he is in other roles. But the absolute star of this movie is Mia Goth. She plays Maxxxine. She plays her in the first movie. But that was more on an ensemble cast. And here she is the star, and she absolutely eats up the scene she's in. Every time she's on screen, you can't help be drawn to her. She plays this brilliantly. Maxxine's a tough-as-nails woman who doesn't take crap off of anybody, and who is willing to do whatever it takes to get whatever she wants. I really loved her, and I hope this leads to bigger things for this actress. She's absolutely wonderful. It's a raw performance, one that isn't afraid to show Maxxine's pain as it oozes out of every pore of her body.
She's amazing. Amazing.
This isn't to say it's a perfect film. While I loved most of it, I wasn't crazy about the reveal of the main villain at the end. I think it got a little bit silly. The overall ending to me was a little underwhelming and cliched. And at times it is a bit slow. And I get the feeling some people might not like the fact that it pivots basically from one genre to another. But I think it works. If this is the end of this trilogy, then kudos to director Ty West for giving us 3 really excellent movies in this world. Perhaps there'll be more, because if there's more money to be made, they'll look to make it. But if this is the end, it means you've gotten 3 really well done movies worth watching. So Maxxxine closes out Ty West's ambitious trilogy with style. Mia Goth and Kevin Bacon compete for stealing the scene, while the satanic panic and Night Stalker backdrop brings a different and dirty look to the 80s. And while Maxxxine has, some pacing issues and a sort of weak third act, it's so unique and fresh it wins you over. Horror fans and thriller fans, they're going to find a lot to like here. Mia Goth, like Maxxxine herself, is ready for the mainstream.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Well, that's it from me this week. Tune in next week where I give you my thoughts and feelings on whatever I've seen. In the meantime, click that like button, subscribe, leave a comment, share this video with friends and enemies alike. And as always, thank you for giving me your valuable time, and I'll see you next week. Take care.